Hello there, my crafty friends. It's Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stamped AF. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. It always seems so long and drawn out to say that, but I am a Canadian demonstrator and I have a fun card for you this week. But I am not going to recreate my sample. I'm going to show it in a different colorway. So let me flip this around and we'll get our craft on. Okay, so you can see that I have got the Seascape bundle out here. I've also got some of the masks, which I know are probably a little difficult to see, but I've got a couple of different ones. There's the polka dots, there's like the mermaid scale, this funny little sideways leaf one, and then this geometric pattern. Now, you want to see my sample? It's a very weird colorway for fish, I know, but let's pretend they're goldfish. So I've used the rainbow glimmer paper, shimmer paper, glimmer paper. I never know which one it is. And this paper typically is yellow, orange, and then it comes into like a magenta. I think it's Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, and then probably Melon Mambo. But I needed red, so I just used a sponge dauber and inked that up before I adhered it. I've got it on some some of that pearlescent paper. I know it's hard to see. And then I've got two little fish that are die cut. And I've used one of my favorite dies. I am fully addicted to this die. This is the circular one from the picture this dies. There's also some rectangles, but I love this one. So I did a little bit of inking. You can see that mermaid scale or fish scale. So we're going to play around because this time we aren't going to do the fish again. We are going to do a seahorse. And I'm still going to use that rainbow glimmer paper, but we are going to use some Granny Apple Green, Coastal Cabana, and some gorgeous grape. Highland Heather, actually, I think is what I'm going to use. So we're going to change it up a little bit. I think we'll probably still stick with the, I don't know if this is coral or I want to say it's anemone, but I don't know. So I think we'll still stick with those ones, but we're going to use the seahorse and yeah. So I haven't decided which one I'm going to use for the masks. Let me bring in some grid paper and you can see this better. So there is the polka dots. I'm leaning towards that one, I'll be honest. And then we've got the scales, and that's the one I used on this way. We've got this geometric one, which is super fun. And I did actually use a couple of different masks, but the pattern ended up being way too busy. This one, I kind of made it look like fish. So if I inked it up in one color, I'd move it over a tiny bit, ink it up in the next color, move it over a little bit. But those ones were just too busy. I found that this one at least related back to the fish. And then I've got some solid ones just to add some pops of color. So I'm going to grab a top full ink card base. Oh, and guess what? I stamped on the inside. Oh, and this sentiment is from the Many Happenings. It is one of the amazing sets that goes with that Many Messages dies. And I just stamped this one. I thought just breathe because I mean they're fish, right? And who else thinks of the Faith Hill song when I say just breathe? So I did a little bit of ink splatter, but it's because I messed up. So I used a sentiment from here. I'm here for you always. So just breathe. I'm here for you always. And then I did some of those scales on the inside just to bring that little bit of pattern in there because there really isn't a lot of it. So I thought that was super fun. I hope that you agree. I do have some of my circles already die cut because every time I make one of these frames, I actually have two sets of them here. Why? Oh, because of course, when I die cut my background, I got another set. So I keep these because we don't have stitched circles anymore. And these are great sizes. I'm sure sentiments are going to fit on there. I think I will probably stick with the same idea in just using one. We'll color three of them at full strength. We might actually, I think I might put something in behind the seahorse because if you look at the fish, I kind of wish there was something back there, but it is what it is. Oh, I just noticed I'm missing those little pieces. I had taped the rest of them in. I'm guessing those ones came off. They did. I remember sweeping them in my hand, but that should be full. Whoopsie. Okay, so I have a top folding card base. We probably don't let me put these away because we're going to get some new ones anyways. Now, please don't laugh. My cutting plates have seen better days. I have new ones arriving, but not till Thursday. Like, look how bold this is. So this is just a reminder to flip your plates often. That is the card base. This is the mat, and we are going to cut this down, but I like to die cut it first. And we could do this on a bit of an angle, but I've found that every time I've done it, I've just preferred it straight up and down. But that's just me. We might as well do this while we're here. So I have got a piece of the adhesive sheet on the back of that. We'll die cut this, and then with some scraps, we will die cut our fish. Now, I should tell you that these two are still part of this rainbow glimmer paper. This one is actually part of the other pack. So there is another pack that has, I want to say it's Pacific Point, Gorgeous Grape, Mango Melody, and Poppy Parade. I'm kind of thinking, I don't want to cut into the purple sheet, so we're going to do the blue. And these come in 12 by 12 sheets. Let's do our fish. It is an ombre paper. I'm not sure that you can tell because I have cut them down, but let's do it this way. We'll get a little bit of color. And what we can do is if we want it to be a little bit darker in places, we can use our sponge daubers. And if you don't have sponge daubers, you can use blending brushes, but I am specifically using sponge daubers this time because I've got so many colors on the go. Now this one, I don't want all those pieces coming out, so I am just going to use some washi tape. I really wish Stampin' Up! Had some current washi tape, but we do not. It is a very fun little bundle, but if you notice, can you see down here? It doesn't die cut them fully out, so the fish and the seahorse are still connected by just a couple little spots, but you can trim them out quite easily. You see this goldfish? That's die cut so that it stays in. Now, I wanted them to be free, so what you do is you figure out where they are connected, and for sake of ease here, I'm just going to cut this away. There should be 4 little spots that are connected. So one of them is right here. Do you see that? So I find it easier to kind of go around it once it's all cut out. But all you have to do is snip those little pieces, and he's free. The way I said that totally reminded me of Little Mermaid with that cute little seahorse that says, King Triton presents. I haven't watched Little Mermaid in forever. Okay, so this is another little spot. So they are very easy to cut and free. I think that might be another spot in there. I don't want this to come off of my adhesive, like the release paper yet. I'm not ready. Okay, so cut that piece out. It probably is easier to do with regular cardstock. With the rainbow glimmer, you've got like different colors all over the place. So it's not as hard as it probably just looked. And I just moved my garbage can from that side to that side, so you're probably going to see me going that way a whole bunch of times and then realize, nope, it's this side. Okay, so we'll put that back in. We'll put this back in. It doesn't have a whole lot of dies in this set, but the ones it does are fabulous. Look at those pretty little fish. So you've got one that points left and one that goes right. My eyeballs stayed in there, and that's okay. This coral or whatever it is still in there. And it's got a whole bunch of little things. You could probably sit there and flip them up so that you get some dimension, but I don't have time for that. Here are our circles. And I'm just using white on white. You could absolutely use whatever color you want. I just wanted this part of the project to really pop. So I'm going to take, I want this to be 4 inches when I'm done. That looks pretty good. And it's up to you if you want to have that big circle on the left or the right. I had it on the left the last time. I do want this coming out of probably one of the bottom ones. We'll see. I'm not sure how this is going to work compared to how the fish was, because this is more portrait and the fish was more horizontal, vertical, what? Landscape. Okay, that could still work, and we could move that. Let's see if we move it this way, we could have that coming down. The overthinking part of this project has now arrived. What I want to do next is, I think I'm probably just going to ink up all these circles and we'll figure out which ones we're using and which ones we're not. So done with that, I think I'm just going to use the dots on this one and kind of make them look like air bubbles. Air bubbles! So I've got some Granny Apple Green, mostly because of that, but I think, I don't know, I'm not sure about that one yet. I've got Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, and Highland Heather. We'll see. We might have to go to Gorgeous Grape. And like I said, I've got sponge daubers for each. You could use blending brushes, but I really want to be able to keep, like if I want to go back to Coastal Cabana a couple times, I've got it. So I'm going to start by just going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal in a couple of different spots. Then I don't have to get my fingers all inky. That was a lot. We'll put a bigger one on there, because I'm not sure if you can tell, but I've got some red on there from before. And if I use my Take Your Pick tool, it kind of puts a little dent in it. Okay, so Coastal Cabana. You can start with a very light hand and darken it up. I think I might bring in some Pacific Point just so that those fish don't totally stand out. Okay, Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay. Not quite enough adhesive on that one. I think those two might be too close. I had thought about using Pool Party, but I thought it was going to be too light. Okay, so Pacific Point. And what I'm trying to avoid here, although it might be cute in this instance, is I don't want any kind of sponge or brush marks, but they might look more like bubbles this way. I have to say, this is not a color that I use often. My go-to purple is Highland Heather. Even when I'm doing a rainbow that's mostly bright, I still stick with Highland Heather for my purple. Okay, so I think we'll do one in scales and we'll do one in circles. So let's do kind of an ombre effect with the circles, bubbles, whatever we want to call them. I will mention that it's not entirely recommended that you use sponge daubers when you're using these masks, because it can kind of tear up the edges. But I mean, these things are so inexpensive that if that happens, just order yourself a new set. But if you want to use blending brushes, or if you want to just like dab it like that, that would be easier on your sponge daubers. Just going up against the rough edge, because this is a little bit thicker than you might expect. That is what gives it the chew up factor. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take my Bermuda Bay and rub a whole bunch of it off, and then just kind of fill this in. I don't want it to be super white. You could also move your dots and have overlapping, like that. And now let's do the scales. And you do want to take these to the sink or use a baby wipe just to get any of the remaining ink off. Okay. I think I'm going to do the large one this time. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Okay, so we'll do another ombre effect. So you can kind of hear it rubbing against that. I just smurfed myself. And I am doing a little bit of overlapping just so that they blend a bit more. And I can come back in with my Coastal Cabana, blend that a little bit further, try to tape it down so it doesn't move. We've got our circle taped down or adhered down, but I don't have the mask. I'm just holding it. Cute, right? That one I don't mind leaving white, so I will set those aside and I'll go and rinse them off after. Let's do some Pacific Point on that one, maybe? Just some plain Pacific Point. Light, though. And do like a hatch. No right or wrong to this. It's your card. You do it how you like. Okay, I am going to put these away before I put my fingers in them and wreck it all. Okay, so let's assemble. I am going to start by popping up this piece. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a little circle of glue into each of these smaller ones. And I'll go ahead and put, I think I'm going to put the Pacific Point at the bottom because I will put my fish in the middle and I don't want too much Pacific Point in one area. They do slide around a bit with that liquid glue, so just make sure that you can see those stitch marks all around. Can't really say on all four sides because it's a circle, right? Okay, so this guy's going in here. We don't need a circle in there. I do think it would be really cute if you took the time to bend all these back. We'll do a couple. Okay, so I put a couple of minis on here, but it's really hard to decide where you're putting them. So what I did was I put glue on the bottom. I put glue on these two little branches for lack of the right word. And then I pushed it in there. Now on the first one, that's where my sentiment went. So I'm not going to put any dimensionals yet because I ended up having to pop it up underneath. That piece wasn't glued down and I had to get a dimensional in there again. So I'm not going to bother putting those in yet. I want to use this one, but I have a feeling it's going to be too big. You know what? We're going to put it there anyways because I thought on the last one that I wanted some more color back there. But let's do it so that we can see all three colors. Like if we cover half of it, we can still see all three instead of only seeing the gorgeous grape. And then we'll put our polka dots in there. Or do we put Pacific Point? I like that it's light. Yeah, I think that's too busy. We could do something like this on the inside. Remember, I did the fish scales on that one. We can do dots on this one. He's so cute. Yep. I think we'll put this one further over because I think in the middle it's going to be a little too busy. Like these two are going to be competing for our eye. So let's have it where that tail kind of hooks in there. We're covering a lot of that Coastal Cabana one, but it does go nicely with his head. I'm assuming this is a boy. It doesn't really matter, but mine is a boy. No, I put that one a little too far. And because it is adhered to washi tape, it's not going to be the strongest adhesive. Put that in the right place. There's a little bump there, but whatever. Okay, so now we just have our little fishies. Maybe we'll have them both come in that way. One swimming towards them and one swimming away. I think we're going to keep it just on the white part this time instead of popping part of it in the circle. And for embellishments, I use the clear jewels in the elegant, well, gems, the elegant faceted gems. I use the clear ones because I don't have any kind of water droplets, so that's what I used. I'm not sure what we're going to do for the sentiment. I would love to use one from here, but they only have 3, and that one is so long. Okay, I'm going to use a different one this time. I haven't inked this up yet, and it was in like one of my first orders. I think we're going to do plot twist, and then on the inside, when nothing goes right, go left. Right? Yeah. We could do friends forever, too. But I think let's do plot twist. That has nothing to do with the seahorse. I just want to. And seriously, I haven't used this yet. The sentiment that swayed me on this one was everything is figure outable. Love that. Which would totally work with plot twist too. I think this is going to look funny. C'est la vie, right? We're just playing. That's a little big. Me. I want to put a little bit more glue down there. I kind of like it up here this time. I am thinking maybe, what shall we use? Decisions. This is the thing about changing the colorway. Now I know on this one it seems very stark with that black, but I felt like it needed that pop. White was just going to blend right in. Let's do it. Now, let's do heat embossing. Why not, right? Gonna stamp it higher than I need it to be, just to give myself some room. I'm probably going to banner the end the way I did before. I did not use my anti-static powder tool. There's nothing quite as magical as watching heat embossing, is there? So let's let that sit for just a moment. I will use Coastal Cabana on the inside. I want to use the darkest color just in case my background goes a little bit too far. So let's use yeah, let's use Gorgeous Grape. Nothing goes right, go left. Ooh, there's something to be said for just a fine, simple font. I don't know why I said fine. A plain and simple font. Looks awesome. Now I've gone and put everything away. We still need these colors out. Okay, I'll clean that up after. Let's go ahead and trim this down. Now I am going to be using my banner pick-a-punch, so I will probably use the 3/4 inch width. So what I like to do is get it down to about an inch and then just go 16th by 16th because I don't want to have too much on one side. And whenever you're cutting for the pick-a-punches, you need to take just a smidgen off so that it fits. I think I took too much off the top. I think we're going for 1/2 inch on this one, which is really hard to measure on this trimmer. So I'm going to err on the side of more. I think we'll have it coming in that way. That looks smart. So I always turn it upside down, and I want to make sure that I have an even banner on both sides. I think that's pretty darn perfect. Now, it is not entirely straight, but it's a plot twist, right? And we'll take a little bit off that one end. Pop this guy up. We can only use minis in part of it, and then we'll put some liquid glue in the other part. I know this is too long, but I'm going to cut it once it's up there. We'll remove the release paper. Plot twist. Now we just have the inside with our little bit of fish scale mermaid tail. Take that off of there. Get our scales. And I did go on an angle the last time, and I don't want it to go too far. And the way that I masked it so that I didn't get that ugly straight edge is I just put a post-it there. Now I'm going to back it up a little bit because I want my post-it to cover edge to edge. I don't want to have a harsh line right at the bottom without re-inking it. So I'm going to do close to Cabana near the edge. Yeah, not enough ink. Goes a little bit further than I'd like it to, but I think it's also a little more natural. Okay, couple gems and then we're done. And I do only have a couple of those ones that are kind of watery. So I only have 3. You want to work in odd numbers. So 1, I had 5 on the first one. But we're using 3 this time because that's all I have. We're going to put 1 up there to draw our eye towards the sentiment. Now, I kind of want it in a triangle. I don't want to necessarily put it over here. But if I put it high enough up, that kind of counts as a triangle, right? And if you're finding these pieces are popping up, you could always peel the adhesive sheet that's on there so that that part stays down. But what do you think? Do you love it? I would love to know in the comments below which one is your favorite. Do you love the red, the Poppy Parade, Mango Melody, and Daffodil Delight with the like goldfish? Or do you love the, I almost said horsefly, the seahorse with Coastal Cabana, Pacific Point, and Gorgeous Grape? I don't know if I could decide. I think I love them both. Anyways, I would love to know in the comments below which one you love. And if this was your first time here, of course, welcome. I'm always late. I hope that you enjoyed this video and you will consider hitting that subscribe button below to catch a new video each and every week. We will see you again soon, my crafty friends. Bye. Bye.